Welcome back to the Thursday night tailgate. What you're going to see now is our playoff preview. Hopefully you checked us out last night and saw our Week 10 recap. We will recap the whole season once the last Anthracite Football League team is eliminated from playoffs. Hopefully that's not for a little while. We want to keep going and keep, most importantly, covering these kids. And we wish everyone out there, first of all, wish everyone out there playing in the postseason this upcoming week best of luck. First thing we'll do is take a look at the Eastern Conference. We'll start with the single A. We got two teams from the AFL participating in the Eastern Conference single A playoffs. We got Marion Catholic and we got the Monterey Golden Bears. Let's start with Monterey. Monterey is going to play Nativity this week. To be honest with you, there's not a whole lot to say about this game, right? Week 2, Monterey really stuck it to them.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even, for that game, and Monterey clearly, what was the final? I forget. 52-6. But yeah, it seems like these two teams play every year in the Eastern Conference. A couple of years there with Wally Hall's teams, they made the Eastern Conference, they played Nativity, and it is what it is. We're expecting Monterey to win again. It can't take anything for granted, but they're probably hoping for a Marion rematch.
Yeah, like you said, you would expect Monterey to win here, 52-6. Monterey's healthy. They don't have any major injuries, so. I'm sure Nativity's improved. Everyone improves as the year goes on. So I would expect it to be a little bit tighter, but I would expect the Monterey victory here.
And boy, we talked about at times, that disappointment of not making districts. But if you're Monterey, you're 7-3, and in 2 weeks you could be 9-3 with a championship, and that would be a fantastic way to end the season. So Monterey Nativity is the first Eastern Conference game. We kind of think that Monterey should get out there and take care of business, and keep rolling into that final. The second Eastern Conference game, Marion at Muncie. I think one of the interesting things about this is Marion is going to Muncie. Yeah. So you got to wonder if that plays a part. We know KJ Sneer's out. Well, we would assume. I shouldn't say we know. We don't know. But unfortunately, the poor kid had the same shoulder a couple times. I mean, you feel bad for him. It'd be hard to picture him already being back this week. But,
yeah.
Muncie, it seems like these two teams kind of different season arcs. Marion started off slow, finished strong. Muncie was the opposite. Muncie got off to a fast start, and Muncie dropped 4 out of their last 6. Muncie is 6-4, Marion's 5-5. I don't know, what do you think?
Well, for Marion, I mean, again, 5-5, they got to be thinking we want to turn this into a winning season. They lose against Muncie, they're 5-6. That's 3 winning for these seniors. That's 3 losing seasons out of their 4 years there. Last year they had a winning season, went to districts and got bumped in the first round. So they got to be thinking, we won at districts. We're going on a little roll there for a while. We didn't make it obviously, but we want to turn something around here. And again, to maybe legitimize their season a little bit. Right now, everybody's saying they have that North Schuylkill win, but other than that, they don't really have a quality win. So, they want to look to beat a Muncie and then hopefully in a rematch with Monterey beat them.
Yeah, you think you look at this, and we're not experts on Muncie, but they got beat last week by Hughesville, who was 0-9. They lost 21-14. So, like you said, you talk about Coach Bonner and his kids still wanted to be practicing and playing. You lose to an 0-9 team, week 9. That sounds like your kids are ready to be done.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it. Sometimes you see the term limping in the playoffs, and when you look at these numbers, when you look at these games, the losers of 4 out of their last 6, losing to Hughesville last week, it really appears Muncie's limping in the playoffs. But Marion has to make that trip. But all of us here, hey, we want to see is Marion Monterey. We want to see that rematch.
I want to see the rematch because you know what? We're looking at it, and we just talked about Monterey versus Nativity was 52-6 week 2 this year.
Yes, week 2.
And week 3, Monterey beat Marion 40-6.
Yeah.
And I think Marion is a much different team now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Than they
no
were.
Question.
So I would love to see that rematch. That'd be great.
And regardless of who's quarterback, I think we would all agree that if Monterey and Marion get there to that championship game, you're looking at a dogfight.
We'll go to that one.
Absolutely.
I like that game.
So Monterey and Marion, I mean, hey, they get after it a lot on the basketball court.
Yeah.
I'm pretty familiar with that. So we're hoping that we see our 2 AFL teams in the Eastern Conference Championship next week. So we got Marion traveling to Muncie, we got Monterey and Nativity. So hopefully we'll get to see that rematch that all the AFL fans want. Moving on to Double A in the Eastern Conference. Again, you can't you can't help to think about the team that's left out at Tamaqua. But North Schuylkill, obviously a team that's very deserving of being in playoffs, 7-3, playing very well as of late. They're going to be hosting North Penn. North Penn 6-4. This is North Penn Blossburg, but they haven't done well against the quality teams that they've played.
Oh, this is some great research, by the way, Coach Cramsey.
Well, while you were busy on FNF Friday night, Coach Davis and myself, we had to keep this train rolling. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you did it on Friday night?
We can't wait for you. I mean, you're big time now, and we're lucky to have back.
I didn't know you guys were in Friday.
We were gonna sit there with an empty seat.
Yeah.
Say we don't know where he's at. We haven't heard.
We're just gonna put the visor and some blue eyes.
Maybe like an Emmy there. 'Cause we'll see. We'll see how the show. But I didn't know you guys were doing this Friday night. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys stayed in and did all this research. But yeah, they lost to Loyalsock at 7-3, Tawanda at 6-4, Troy at 8-2, and Wellsboro 10-all. But they got destroyed in each game. And again, that's your research, not mine. But that shows you that when they played the big guys, they haven't fared well.
Yeah, North Schuylkill, they got it rolling, and I don't know what the feel is up there with the team right now, but you got to think that North Schuylkill, they want to end this up with a 9-3 record, and it all starts with getting this 8th win this week.
Absolutely, they got a young team. I know what I want to see as a football fan. I want to see North Schuylkill and Northwestern Lehigh.
Yeah.
Northwestern Lehigh finishes the year with a huge win against Caddy, and Northwestern's playing in the other half of the bracket. They're going to be playing Nanticoke. We don't know a whole lot about Nanticoke, so we don't want to make any speculations there. But boy, it would be interesting if we can see North Schuylkill Northwestern in that championship.
And for the district playoffs, it came down to that at the end there. I mean, when the AA was so tight, when Northwestern upset Caddy, they were in the mix. Palisades lost to Saucon, so all of a sudden there were like 4 or 5 teams vying for those last 2 spots, and Northwestern and North Schuylkill were on the outside looking in. So for them, that's kind of a nice way. Like at least you can figure out who was the best of the ones that didn't make it, and that would be a great game to see. Northwestern has some outstanding players. A sophomore, I forget his first name, but Hall. He's the first 1,000-yard back in Northwestern history as a sophomore, which is impressive, especially considering the guys that the Snyder brothers and all that went through Northwestern. Cam Richardson, he's one of the fastest guys in the districts in track every year. He's right in the top.
And I know for basketball, he killed us last year. The kid's a stud.
Oh yeah.
He's a stud athlete.
They got some nice kids, so I would, we're actually, I know it's the week before, but we're hoping for some early matchups, and that one we're hoping.
Yeah, we're totally looking ahead. As coaches, as players, you can't look ahead, but we want Marion Monter, we want North Schuylkill, Northwestern. We're looking ahead to those championship week for Eastern Conference. Next AAA Eastern Conference, Jim Thorpe hosts the Saucon Valley Friday night. Jim Thorpe gets a home game, good for them. Again, the sting of not getting in districts, hopefully the fact that they're going to get to host a playoff game Friday night and their season continues, lessens that sting a little bit because they certainly deserve it after the season that they've had. And obviously, we're all pulling for them. This is an interesting matchup with the leagues that these guys are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, we can open up a can of worms here if we want, but for Saucon Valley, I feel it's a bit of an injustice.
Saucon Valley 7-3 as well.
Yeah, Saucon Valley 7-3.
And Jim Thorpe.
And Jim Thorpe, yeah. But Saucon Valley's in a situation there where they're in a league that's like bigger schools, AA and AAA schools. They're 7-3. They had a quality win against Palisades last week, a 7-win team, and they're on the outside looking in by basically a few decimal points behind Pottsville.
Who's 5-5?
Pottsville's 5-5, and I don't want to create waves here, or maybe I do. I don't know, but Pottsville's 5-5 with no quality wins. Their best win all year long was a 4-6 Blue Mountain. And I think if we really want to create competition and all, and what it's supposed to be, somebody eventually has got to step up and say, you know what, we decline a berth. We don't think we are district worthy. I remember a couple of years ago, I think, did Southern Columbia do that? Or there was one of those good programs.
Somebody didn't want to play Southern Columbia. It might have been Lords or something.
No, but there was another example where somebody said, we're used to, it might have been, I feel bad. I'm not prepared for this here, but there was a school that says, we're used to like legitimate competition for championships. We're not going to take something that's handed to us. And in my opinion, Pottsville 5-5 without a quality win, and I know you got the numbers, you can give them to them in a minute here, but Soccer Valley deserves to be in the district playoffs, and they're not. But in the meantime, they get to play Jim Thorpe, and this would be a nice matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great matchup. Jim Thorpe had a season that no one expected. You know, coming off back-to-back 1-9 years. They had 2 wins in the last 2 years, and now this year they're 7-3, and they're the league champs. And hey, it's kind of like the Anthracite League versus the Colonial League here. You know, Saucon, I mean, they were predicted to be a pretty solid team this year, and they were 7-3. Their 3 losses were to a 9-1 Caddy team, a 9-1 Southern Lehigh team, and a 7-3 Penn Argyl team. You know, so, I mean, their 3 losses were against 3 very good teams.
And they just beat a very good Palisades team.
You know, and it is a shame. They got 7 wins, and they're in a AAA and AA league, and then, you hate to say it, but then you have Pottsville who has 5 wins. The combined records of the teams that they have wins over is 11-39.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know.
2 of those are 0-10.
And you talked about when you were big time in this and went to the show Friday night, you learned about this whole formula here a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
you get credit just for playing bigger schools. You don't even have to beat them anymore. The old formula, you had to beat them to get those points.
Right.
By the way, Mount Carmel did that a couple years ago. They declined a berth because they said we didn't deserve it. We're not going to let our kids settle for mediocrity, you know, and take a berth when they don't deserve it. And I think maybe, you know, Rhys Miller at Pottsville or, you know, somebody should have said, you know what, maybe we don't deserve this berth this year. We'll go Eastern Conference or whatever. I don't think they deserve it. It's a shame. We got Jim Thorpe, we got Saucon Valley who won 7 of their 10 games. And here's a team that won 5 of their 10 games, and none of them stand out as good wins.
Yeah, you got Saucon Valley, week 10 is playing Palisades, who had, 7 wins?
Yep.
And you had Pottsville playing a 0-win
Twin Valley
team.
0-win, yep.
And they both win. And they still can't jump them because of the other teams that they played. It doesn't make sense.
This is about the most political we've gotten all year long here, but it deserves it. I think it deserves it.
Yeah, and we're looking at a lot of 7-win teams that are either not in playoffs, in Tomaco's case, or in Eastern Conference, where, you know, you would hope that they'd have an opportunity to get in those district playoffs.
Yeah.
But
hey, speaking of the game now, I bet Saucon Valley's really. I can't wait to see what RS2 does against Saucon Valley. I can't wait to see this Nick Savant. You know. He's a stud running back for Saucon Valley there. Jim Thorpe's going to have their hands full with him. It should be a pretty decent game.
yeah, and both of these teams, again, you have a chance to end the season 9-3
Yep.
with a championship. And you know, hey, while we're on it, why not? I mean, let's face it. Today, with the way district playoffs are, with the way that it's, you know, it's a wild west out there, and you have some of these Philly schools that are classified as single or double A with the area that they're drawn from. And we saw it a few years ago at Northern Lehigh when they had one of the best small school teams in the state that our buddy Coach Joe Cow coached, and they ran into West Catholic, with which was basically a Philly All-Star team.
Right, and North Schuylkill ran into that same team the year before or year after.
Right, and you know, it's a joke.
This session might get to be like 2 hours.
But you know, it is what it is. So, you know, but I guess we're going off a bit on a tangent.
Barney's fine with us going for 2 hours here.
Woo! But hey, it is what it is, and you know, I guess the point being, you know, if you finish your season 9-3 with the Eastern Conference Championship, why isn't that as good as, you know, what you're having that district shot? It's you know, it's not a 5-5 team limping in. It's a team that won the league in Jim Thorpe. It's a Saucon Valley team that has a lot of quality wins and is 7-3 against the league, where they're playing teams their own size the whole time or larger. And you know, either of those teams, if they can finish 9-3 with a championship, that'd be a great year for them. Whew.
Yeah.
I think we struck a nerve there with Coach Cramsey.
All right. So next, District 11 playoffs.
Okay.
Lehighton.
Triple A.
AAA. Lehighton. Their win over Thorpe gets them in. Now Lehighton's 6-4. They play in the MVC. They play a lot of these big schools.
Oh, yeah.
They've had a lot of quality wins. They beat the AFL champ last week of the regular season. So you look at Lehighton, you look at what they've done, and you know, you certainly wouldn't say that they're not one of those teams that fall into that category. You beat the AFL champ. You both had a shot to get in that last week, and you know, Lehighton took care of business on their end. They're in. They get Bethlehem Catholic. Boy, interesting matchup. I mean, you know, Becca it seems like they got things rolling again. They were obviously very strong in the 80s and early 90s, and then they dipped a bit in recent years. And are they back? They're very competitive in the LVC, which is one of the best leagues in the state. Playing teams like Easton and Parkland and Emmaus and those guys week in and week out. You got Lehighton, a bunch of young kids, the staff that's doing a great job with Coach Tom McCown and those guys. So it's going to be cool. They get a shot to the big boys.
Yeah, I mean, this is a situation where you got the third or fourth best MVC team playing against a middle of the road LVC team. So it's not like Lehighton's taking on Whitehall or Parkland or Easton. It'll show you the depth of each conference, since we're the middle of the road teams on each side, and we as local guys, we're rooting for Lehighton, obviously. This is one of those I think it'd be a nice one to take a ride down to on Saturday and check this one out and see how it goes. And for Lehighton coming into the league, especially next year, see what they're all about.
Yeah, I would think nobody's going to expect Lehighton. I shouldn't say nobody, but I would think Lehighton.
Nobody outside of Lehighton.
Right. Lehighton is a definite underdog, and I'm sure they're going to have a ton of people pulling for them. But still, you're going against Bethlehem Catholic. And we talked about it before. Bethlehem Catholic, they got that. They're like double dipping, They're actually a double A size school, but the LVC makes them play triple A in order to be in the league. So they get to kind of take kids from all over the area down there. And
we're not going to debate wrestling here tonight, are we? This show could be 3 hours.
We won't get into that. But like you said, Lehighton's up against it this week, but you know what? Those Lehighton kids, all year, they have done nothing but fight every Friday night, and I really think that they're going to get out there and, hey, you played a game for a reason.
And it just jumps into my head, and it's not exactly the same, but boy, I want to say it was early 90s that Lehighton, and I believe they got into districts that year.
Coach Davis won't remember this. He'd have to Google this.
Yes, Coach Davis, he was probably in elementary school at the time. But I believe Lehighton got in because somebody declined the district berth. And Lehighton faced Easton, who was tearing things up, and Easton was a decided favorite. Easton was undefeated. They may have been 11-0 at the time, or 12-0. Lehighton was a huge dog.
Coach Parsons was head coach at the time.
Absolutely, and they went down to Cottingham and they beat Easton. It was a shocker.
Yep.
And so it happens. And not only does it happen, it has happened to Lehighton. It has happened to Lehighton against one of the big boys from the Lehigh Valley. So who's to say that it can't happen again?
That's why they played a game.
That's why they played a game. So that's your District 11 3A bracket. And again, they're looking at the winner of Pottsville and Southern Lehigh. And, I think both of these guys have made their opinions abundantly clear about that other game. But you have Saucon Valley, Jim Thorpe, unfortunately, on the outside looking in districts. Southern Lehigh, Pottsville, winner of that is going to get the winner of Beckett and Lehighton. In AA, District 11, we have no A9 teams. Boy, it would have been interesting to see Tamaqua, North Schuylkill, in this mix. I mean, and not to take anything away from anyone else, but Pine Grove, every year Pine Grove's in there, and I feel like every year you have Pine Grove and Williams Valley and Tri-Valley, and they're at the top of that league, and I feel like we just don't know much about them. They only lose to each other. Every year they're 8-2, 9-1, 10-0, and I don't know what to make of it.
I can't even remember Pine Grove being in the district title game in the past 15 years, but they're always in districts. So it's almost like, and again, I might be wrong, they got a stud, Himes, a great running back, 2,000-yard kid, maybe this will be the year, but yeah, every year I think, geez, they get in, but, they don't do anything when they're in, and I guess we'll see, I mean, obviously Caddy was the team to beat, up our way, but yeah, I wish one of our guys would have got in there, North Schuylkill or Tamaqua, just to see how they fared up against some of these other teams.
Yeah, it seems like Caddy, looking at it, I mean, it didn't really hurt them. They were going to be the 2 seed even if they won or lost, I think. I mean, it would have been close. But if you're going to lose, hey, that's the time to lose.
Get it over with.
Get it over with. Maybe the kids were getting a little too confident. Now they go on a little bit of a run again and see how far they can go.
It's intriguing.
They are the favorites. Caddy is the favorites, but they got Penn Argyl.
Yeah.
And Penn Argyl always gives Caddy problems. Last year they won the district title, and it should be interesting.
It should be interesting. And, again, as coaches, as players, you don't want to look ahead. The thing that I feel is frustrating, you look at a team like Caddy. You talk about, Caddy is a small town school.
Yeah.
They're a 2A school. They're sandwiched between Whitehall and Northampton, and they have those tough Catasauqua kids. They go out, they have a memorable season, 9-1. They lose their last game, but they have finished a great season, 9-1. You know, and they have a lot of talent. If they advance, I believe they're looking at the Philly school in the first round of interdistricts. Second round.
I get District 2
Okay,
first.
so, you know, you're playing a Philly All-Star team. Is what you're playing, and that's not to make excuses for anyone. Hey, you got to go out there and you got to play the game. It just, I don't see how that is an equal level playing field when you have that townie AA Catasauqua, all those kids that have grew up together and played midgets together, and there's probably people, their parents and people in the stands that are, we can't wait till these kids are in high school. And now they're in high school, they're getting it done, and now you got to play someone that's drawn from an 80-mile radius and puts together an all-star team. So that's my rant.
We should say that for 2 weeks from now, when they're playing them, if they play them.
All right, so that's 2A. Single A, Haven, our boys. Haven's alive, and Haven's a team that is carrying the Anthracite Football League banner in the districts.
Yep.
And you know, Haven's goal, they said at the beginning of the year, was
They want to practice on Thanksgiving.
they want to be practicing on Thanksgiving, and we think they got a great shot to do that. Schuylkill Haven's going to have to travel to Tri-Valley. Schuylkill Haven's a 3 seed, Tri-Valley the 2 seed, other half of the bracket. You got Pius against Williams Valley. Pius, another team, you know, you look at their schedule the last couple of weeks, but that is what it is. But you got to think that, you know, the winner's probably looking at Williams Valley. Although Pius, they have put up a lot of points.
And they have athletes.
And they have athletes, and they gave Steel High a game. And
Yeah.
I don't think the issues with Pius as a team, I guess, is maybe more so with the schedule,
Yeah.
the way things shook out the last couple of weeks, where you look at some of the other teams and who they were playing, and you know, you look at you know, who Pius was playing. But regardless, we have Haven going to Tri-Valley. So what do we think of that?
This should be a very interesting game. You look at Tri-Valley's losses, and they're against
Quality loss.
two teams that Pine Grove's undefeated and Williams Valley's 9-1. And you look at that and you think, okay, like what is, like you said, what is Tri-Valley? We really don't know, you know, what those teams are like out there. I mean, we get coverage from Pottsville Republican, but at the same time, you know, we just never know.
You know,
And
it's always those three at the top, and you don't know.
You got the Haven team, who was the favorite. They were banged up all year. Now they're getting healthy. You know, they're rolling pretty good here. If Tri-Valley has a passing attack here, they might give Haven some trouble. I mean, Haven's weakness definitely is the passing game. So it should be interesting. They are our horse, and we're going to ride them until they can't go any further. So
That's what I was going to say. The last 3 weeks, I've said multiple times, nobody wants to play Haven in the playoffs. And I know there are 3 seeds, but I think they're the favorite in this bracket. And if they could go out and do what they did last week to a very, first of all, big school, a AAA school. Now granted, Blue Mountain put their little thing together at the end there, but basically Haven dominated this game with, you know, by pounding the ball and controlling the clock. They could do that this week against the Tri-Valley, who doesn't have the depth that Blue Mountain has or the quality of athletes that Blue Mountain has. I think Haven is the favorite here, again, even as the away team with a 3 seed.
I'll tell you what, I don't want to make any assumptions about about Tri-Valley, because obviously they have a lot of tough kids and they're there every year. But I guess what I'm going to say is, should Haven advance? I do think Haven is one of those teams that's equipped, based on their line, based on Fink, based on Casella. That is a team that's equipped to play with some of these Philly schools in interdistrict, should they get in. With the way their line plays, the way that they run the ball, and let's face it, that's what you need to control the clock. You need to keep the ball out of their hands. And obviously, you know, we said as coaches and players, you can't look ahead. We can, but looking ahead, I would love to see that matchup. You know, I'd love to see that Coal Region smashing out football that Schuylkill Haven plays, you know, just jamming it right down your throat against some of, against some of those schools in the districts, and see how it plays out. It certainly would be interesting.
Single A's would be very interesting. Because you have Dunmore, who was runner-up in the state last year, who was just as good, if not better. Then you have Old Forge, who's very good. You have Southern Columbia this year, who is just absolutely steamrolling everybody. So Single A and the eastern half of the state this year, there's going to be some very good matchups here.
And, you know,
And we hope Haven's in that mix.
we hope so. You know, we hope so. But, like, you know, those teams you mentioned, obviously, quality teams, tough kids, and they're fun teams to watch as well, without a doubt. So, That's our playoff preview. Guys, any closing thoughts?
I just, hats off to the teams that made it this year, and you get to play an extra week. A lot of teams, the majority of the teams in the state of Pennsylvania handed equipment in, this week. And you guys get to continue to play, so enjoy it.
Yeah, if you're one of the teams that we didn't talk about that you didn't make playoffs, hey, your high school career is not over. So get on the hard court, get ready for baseball, wrestling, whatever it is. But
We're track.
or track,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. But I'm just saying, don't make yourself a one sport athlete. Get out there and play multiple sports and enjoy it. You only get to do it for so long before you get old and you have trouble tying your shoes in the morning.
And some of you guys, we've been getting great feedback from kids. We're up to about 900 followers now on Twitter,
Yeah.
and the Facebook's been getting a lot bigger. And we appreciate it. Our goal was in the beginning of the year when we started this, our goal was to get out there and promote Cole Region football, promote Anthracite football. So the important thing is for you people that are following football in our area and you kids that are playing, we hope you enjoyed it because we wanted to put it out there to promote it as best we can. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully have more teams than not still alive in the playoffs. Until then, thanks again. Cole Region football out.